In this video, I'm going to tell you the #1 reason why I do not print miniatures for Warhammer 40,000. Roll that intro, baby. Welcome to Corner Case. You're in the Hobby Corner. I'm your host, your confidant, your best friend, Deck. I've made it clear on the channel that my point of view about 3D printing is that it is very, very good for the hobby, but when it comes to my own armies, specifically my Warhammer 40,000 armies, I almost never print miniatures. #1 reason for that is because of design language. I actually think that Warhammer 40,000 has a very, very good design language system for their entire range. Games Workshop within Warhammer Fantasy and, AOS and Warhammer 40K has like such a wide breadth of models. And somehow, whenever you look at a Games Workshop model, you know that it is a Games Workshop model, especially nowadays, since they switched to CAD. Likewise, when I see a 3D printed bit, I know that that is not a first-party bit. I know that that is from a third party. And that kind of breaks my immersion. So that's the #1 reason why I won't print miniatures or bits for my Warhammer 40,000 armies. So there are a million companies now that are making sculpts for Warhammer 40,000. You can literally just make a word generator that combines 2 Warhammer words, and I swear there is a bit or STL out there that already exists. Like Tzeentch, Traitor Guard, Khorne, Sisters of Battle, Primaris, Lightning Claws. Literally combine any 2 words in Warhammer 40,000 and there is a bit STL for it. Now, I'm not trying to knock the work that all these people are doing because I definitely support moving the hobby forward by all of this creative work. But most of the time, it doesn't look exactly right. And let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that these third-party sculptors knowingly deviate from the first-party design language? Do you think that they don't know that they're deviating and they just think that they're making something awesome and that's their focus? Or do third-party sculptors have the conceit that they are making something so creative, they have to take it upon themselves to push Games Workshop's design language forward on their own? You know, what do you guys think? I definitely have my opinion, but I'd love to hear yours in the comments. So let's take a closer look at this topic. I'm going to pull an example from online. I want to make it clear that I don't want to damage this person's business. They've done some good work. The fact that they have put in the hours to make this piece of creative work is already praiseworthy. So even though I don't want to print this for my army, I'm not saying it's completely wrong. You know, you guys can enjoy this, print it for yourselves if you would like. But for me, here are the reasons why I would not print this particular item. And again, I'm not putting the name here on purpose because I don't want this criticism to affect their business as much as possible. So these are some Dark Angels bits. And the first thing I notice here is the little head crest. The little head crest is not something that exists inside of the Warhammer 40K lexicon right now. They like completely made up this icon. And to me, it doesn't mean anything to Dark Angels. Warhammer 40K is so good at creating these little icons and logos for every single army. And this is just like pretty random. It looks like maybe a Mechanicus thing. I don't know. But I feel like slapping it on there definitely takes away from my immersion because it just is the wrong image. On top of that little head icon being the wrong icon or not fitting in, it's the way it's designed also does not conform with the 40K design language. So the reason here is definitely because current 40K models are designed for injection molding. That has a certain number of constraints and parameters that actually affect the outputted design. So that includes like wall thicknesses, like how thick each line is in the design, where it is on the tool. So when you cut it out of the sprue, you know, like that has an effect on the detail here. And this particular head icon, I know was designed with 3D printing in mind because the line weight is too thin and you wouldn't get that detail in injection molding. Just by merit of the sculptor designing a detail for 3D printing rather than injection molding already creates a situation where the detail doesn't make any sense to the design. At least within the first party design language. Maybe you guys think I'm crazy, I'm nitpicking, I don't know. But for me, like I am just so attuned to what Games Workshop would normally make that deviation is just too much for me already to accept this design, even if I needed to print a bunch of heads for my Dark Angels army. The next biggest offender, and this is, I'm only going to talk about these 2, but they're not the only ones. The next biggest offender is the hood design on these. So yes, Dark Angels frequently have hoods, but the way Games Workshop designs hoods, there are enough models in their range in the last 5 to 10 years to establish that there is a clear design language and approach to the way they design these hoods. Usually the hoods are very baggy, they bunch and drape at the bottom of these hoods, and usually towards the forehead area of the opening, it's pretty square. The creases and folds are very distinct and have a reasonable distance apart. The reason Games Workshop designs this way is because basically they design fabrics to look good with a wash and with edge highlighting. That's their system of paints that they prescribe to the average consumer, and their sculpting actually reflects that. So they simplify these fabric shapes to take well to those processes. I think that's super, super cool. But when I see a hooded head like this, you know, it looks like a bonnet. The fabric is super tight to this helmet. First of all, they're establishing a precedent where it's not often, if at all, that you see a helmeted head inside of a hood for 40K. And then on top of that, they basically shrunk wrap this helmet with a hood. And I understand why. One reason is because they don't know where this head is going to go. So for it to be a successful bit, they actually need the hood to be tight. If they built in the drape like you do with a normal Warhammer 40K hood, then it would be incompatible with some models that you want to put it on, or require extra work chipping away at your existing model to make that draped hood work. The end result is that it doesn't match the current design language. The other thing is they rounded out all of these like very tiny wrinkles that is just not going to take well to like edge highlighting or the GW heavy metal way of painting. So the hood and the head icon, even before I go into the minutia, even more minutia of these little idiosyncrasies in the design, these two big things are already going to stop me from printing this. Like, I'm not going to do it. Again, I respect the sculptor. You did a great job. Thank you so much for contributing to our hobby. But for my taste, I need only the finest for my 3D printed miniatures. I need it to match completely for my immersion.
Well, Dick, they have to differentiate their designs because, like, otherwise they could be subject to the wrath of GW's legal team.
I agree with that to some degree. Games Workshop will probably go after them, but at this rate, the number of bits manufacturers there are, like James Workshop will not be able to reach all of them. So you might as well do a good job. And if you're providing STLs, you don't even have inventory that you're sitting on. So what's the worst thing that happens? They give you the banhammer, and then now you just set up shop somewhere else, and now you're in the back of the line to get banhammered again. But it's not like you're sitting on inventory that's just gonna like eat away at your profit margins. You can make the STLs, get banned, keep selling again. So I think they should just focus on doing a good job matching the first party aesthetics. So definitely, I have 3D printed a lot for my Warhammer 40K armies. I have quite a good Trader Guard collection that looks chef's kiss perfect for a first party design language. I'm super, super happy with it and actually very surprised that it exists at all. I think the vast majority of these 3D printed bits and sculpts for Warhammer 40K don't match well enough for my taste. That is the number one reason I, most of the time, will not 3D print miniatures for Warhammer 40K. I hope somebody out there agrees with me. Honestly, I kind of feel a little crazy talking about it, but maybe you guys agree. If you don't agree, I don't care. Just tell me. It's fine. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just on the internet saying what I think. Otherwise, thanks for swinging by. Please, please, please like and subscribe. As always, we're very desperate, and we'll see you next time.
Venerate the Emperor by subscribing now! Only in death does subscribing end!